It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew.
Good morning,
Hey.
everyone. Welcome to the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. Sean Garvey,
DJ Roland.
DJ Roland with his sleepy voice.
Yeah. Gotta wake up. Gotta wake up.
He just had to wake up.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It's the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. You can check out this show and many more on demand, beatbreakradiofm.com. We are also simulcasting on Thinking Out Loud Network. That's thinkingoutloudnetwork.com. Don't forget to follow us on all your social media at Beat Break Radio, at Podcast FM Now, and at Reach One Network Podcast. We got a great show for you this morning. We have a returning guest on the live line. We got a lot of stuff to cover, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, got a big announcement to make to all of our listeners towards the end of the program, just in case you haven't been following me at Sean Garvey ATL on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. But I'll get into that major announcement towards the end of the podcast. DJ Roland, man, how was your week, sir?
Week was good. All I can say is that DJ Roland's getting back in business. You will definitely hear that different or similar sound that you were not hearing for several months, and you'll get that back very, very soon. And just looking forward to next year.
Yeah, looking forward to 2022. It's
Yes,
pretty
right.
much just around the corner.
Yeah.
You upgraded some DJ equipment.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So looking forward to really using that and getting back to what I missed doing, because I couldn't do it before, but now I can do it now and then some. It's supposed to give me more insight of things I can actually do and whatnot.
Right.
So be on the lookout for it.
Okay. Well, we're definitely looking out for that, man. My week has been both good and bittersweet at the same time. Let me get into the good part first of how my week has been. So if you remember DJ Roland Offline a few years ago, back in 2016, the last album from A Tribe Called Quest dropped. You remember that album?
Of course, because I bought it. That was that was the reason why I bought a CD.
So you bought the album?
Yeah.
Okay. The name of the album was "We Got It From Here. Thank You for Your Service."
Mm-hmm.
The last Tribe Called Quest album.
Right, with Five Dog on it. Just it was actually Five passed just when they finished it up. So when it was actually released, he already passed. So, yeah.
He died the same year that the album dropped, because the album dropped later on in 2016.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. We were talking about it offline about a couple of years ago, when after the album dropped. Mm-hmm. And I told you that I wasn't feeling the album at first.
Right.
Like, I'm one of those people that skim through an album and determine whether I like it or not. Before I go for the message, I go for the production, the beat. Mm-hmm. I love to hear the beat and the instrumental first before the message. Right. Because you can do a song, you can do a record with a great message, but if the production and the beat isn't on point, I'd be like, I'm not feeling it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but I skim through it, and it takes me maybe like 20, 30 seconds into a song to really captivate me. But years later, I went back recently this past week, and I went back and I listened to the album in its entirety. And I was like, you know what? This album is not too bad at all. It's not too bad. Like years later, I start to appreciate it more, because it's not just only the last Tribe Called Quest album, but you can tell just by listening to the whole entire album from track one all the way to the very last track of the album. They put a lot of blood, sweat, tears, and effort into making that album. Like Five Dog was on the album And he wasn't even the best in health when he made that album with Q-Tip, with Jerobi and Buster and Consequence, and all the other artists that were on that album too.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and shout out to DBS Sounds on the South Side in Riverdale, Georgia, Black-owned record store.
That's where I bought mine.
That's where you bought yours?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. Shouts to Tobago, man, and D over there over at DBS Sounds. That's where I got the album. And I
cool
dude
over there, the cool owner, man. He is awesome.
Yeah, man. Two brothers doing their thing, man. But yeah, and to this very day, DJ Rollum, I listen to that album everywhere I go. That, so I just wanted to share that. That is a great album. And yeah, the Last Tribe album.
Yeah. My favorite group. I love mixing with them. I do.
Yeah, man. So now we just looking for the next Q-Tip solo album.
Yeah, I can see that coming. I can see that coming. Yeah,
maybe
I can see that
sometime
coming.
This year or next year.
Probably so. Never know.
Probably. Yeah, it'll be up in the air real soon, man. But yeah, big shouts to the Tribe. Big shouts to them, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, that was the good part of this week. Oh, the other thing too, DJ Rollum, and I mentioned a little bit about this on a previous show, that I am now, let me get my applause ready. I am now an official owner of an iPhone.
Of an iPhone?
Yes.
What?
I am an official owner of an iPhone.
Oh man, you left us, man.
No. Now, don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. DJ Rollum, I did not officially leave Android.
Okay.
I am with both Android and iPhone. So now I have 5 mobile devices, which is crazy. Because people ask me all the time, like, why do you have 4 or 5 mobile devices, including a tablet? Then the second question is, how many women do you have? Because they think that I got different women in different area codes, and that's why I got so.
Oh, you're like Ludacris.
But without the Fast and Furious money.
Okay, right, the Fast and Furious money. Okay, all right.
But yeah, so I am both Android and iPhone team. I'm on both teams.
How does it feel to be on both teams like that?
Sometimes I feel like a traitor. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it because I find myself investing more time in the iPhone than I do with the Android.
So you gonna post a picture of you of the iPhone and of you with the Android, and you pick and choose which one you want to be with.
Well, you got the wife, you got the main squeeze, and you got the side chick.
So which one? Everyone wants to know which one's the side chick.
The iPhone. The iPhone.
The iPhone's the side chick. Oh yeah. Boy. Okay.
iPhone is the side chick, and the Android is my wife right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Ladies, you hear that? Ladies, you hear that?
I'm not that type of guy. I'm just not. I had to get iPhone. No, I went into the store, and this sales rep convinced me to get an iPhone versus Android, because originally I was going in there to get another Android phone, believe it or not.
I believe it.
I was going to get another Android, and it was for a business reason, professional reasons. But the person in there who sold me the iPhone convinced me that the iPhone is an XR iPhone. And he convinced me that it has more great pixels. You can do a lot with it, this, that, and the third. And I figured, like, well, hey, I already have an Apple ID and an Apple password, all the Apple information. I already have that for my line of business. So I was like, okay, why not? Just as long as my bill is not high as a kite every month.
Right.
That's all I asked for. But it's like more steps that you got to do with an iPhone than with an Android.
I believe it.
Because with the iPhone, like it literally, DJ Roland, kid you, no lie. It took me an hour to try to turn my iPhone off.
An hour.
It took me an hour to turn my iPhone off. So
if you fell asleep and you still sleepy and there's an hour, you're like, I'm just trying to turn it off.
My iPhone. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't turn my iPhone off. I was like, what in the world is going on with this phone here? So I took it to the phone store to get it figured out. And this lady by the name of Octavia, she came up to me for assistance and she said, hey, how can I help you? I'm telling her, hey, I can't turn my iPhone off. And I know the people in the store were looking at me crazy because they were probably thinking in their minds, like, what in the world? He came all the way in here just to try to get somebody to help him turn his iPhone off. Like, didn't it come with instructions? But the manual, because there was a small manual inside of the package when I was given the iPhone, but they didn't word it correctly. I'm like, see, this is why Apple is doing too much. So the lady had to break it down to me on how to turn the iPhone off. I have to press the top button of the volume button, and then the bottom volume of the button, and then the other button on the other side of the phone to turn it off. Yeah.
That's too much work, man. I'm trying to figure all that out. I'm like, just to turn it off.
Yeah, just to turn it off. Which is a turn off to me.
I believe it. That's a turn off for me. That's why I ain't getting one.
But yet, it's a turn off to me, but she's still a side chick though. The iPhone is still a side chick.
It's gonna remain a side chick too until they learn how to do stuff right, man. So
hey man. That's just what it is. But yeah, I got it finally turned off. So the person in the store showed me how to turn it off. So now I can turn it off without having to worry about leaving it on all the time and the battery goes dead.
Right.
Yeah, because I've had a lot of iPhone users. Most of my friends are iPhone users. That's probably one of the reasons why I went ahead and got the iPhone, because most of my friends are iPhone users. And some people that I work with come up to me and ask me if I have an iPhone charger, because the battery drains out quickly on the iPhone. Why are you shaking your head?
It's not good, man. I'm like, for an iPhone, it's like it's trying to make you take over your life. And I heard about them, it burns your battery very, very quickly and whatnot. And to me, it's like you need it's a money thing. You got to get a battery charger. I forgot what it was actually called, but basically you have a battery charger, not the actual cord that you plug into a wall or anything, or even into a computer or some other USB device, but an actual battery charger that that it has so much power in it that it'll keep your phone charged if you're going to be using it a lot during the day.
Yeah.
And whatnot, until you get to a USB device so you can plug it in somewhere to keep it charged as it burns up. And I'm like, that's a money thing to me with iPhones. The Apple community to me is asking for a lot more money. Like, yeah, we'll give you this, but in order to really work, you're going to need this. And if you want to really enjoy it, you're going to need this.
Right.
So
they're trying to upsell. They're trying to upsell.
That's what it is.
Yeah. But but I make sure that I turn the iPhone off at night. You know why?
Burns.
Because not only that, because the iPhone is still a side chick.
Oh yeah,
so
you gotta keep it in check. Gotta keep it in check. That's what it is.
Got to turn it off at night because I'm with my wife. The Android, I keep the Android phone on.
Yeah,
I keep it on most of the day and at night. Got to keep the Android on. But the iPhone,
Right.
I got to turn the iPhone off at night.
Android rules the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm not. I hope I'm not confusing people because they listening and they're saying, "Well, why is it that you spend more time with the iPhone, Sean, than you do with the Android?" Well, here's the thing: like I keep the Android on and I still use it, but it's like the Android doesn't see what I'm doing with the iPhone, I guess you can say. So it's kind of like it's hard to explain.
Okay, let me ask you this: is the iPhone in the back pocket?
I'm including.
When you go on places, the iPhone is always in the back pocket. I'll just sit on my ass until I feel like getting your ass out.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, man. Let's get off these iPhones and Androids and all that for a moment, man. Don't forget, by the way, speaking of Android and iPhone, you can still download the Podcast FM app to your Android and iPhone devices. All you have to do is go to beatbreakradiofm.com to download the Podcast FM app to your Android or iPhone. I see somebody got it. Bam! There you go. Our guest got the iPhone there, the Apple. He got two, not just one, but two, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and bring him on.
Before you bring him on, I gotta say this.
I'm here.
Yeah, we got Adrian Davis.
I don't need no apples. I don't need any apples. I was a good fruit, but I don't need it.
Adrian Davis got two iPhones and he just showed it to us. All right, wait, okay, they look like Pro Maxes to me. That's what they look like. Are they Pro Max time? They are. Wow.
11 Pro Max and a 12 Pro Max.
Wow. Okay, fancy.
Listen, Apple is everything, and we know it. We know it. I've been an Apple person since iPhone came. I've been an iPhone person since iPhone was originated. I had the first iPhone. I've had everyone since then. DJ Roland, I recently tried. The reason why I have the 12 is that I recently tried to have an Android. I got that Galaxy Note 20, whatever it's called, whatever the most recent, whatever they rolled out. And the interface is trash. The user friendliness, come on. Like, we don't even want to talk because like I had to scroll, I had to pull the drop down, then hit another button and pull another drop down to cut it off. Then they wanted me to confirm to cut it off. Then they wanted me to confirm again to cut it off.
Right. Exactly.
I have a Note 10 and I like it. It took me a while, but I like it. And that's what I'm sticking with.
So I'm a proponent to people like what they like. So I ain't even gonna front. I have Apple everything. I have Macs, I have iMacs, I have MacBooks, I have iPads, everything's Apple. Everything's Apple. So
all things Apple.
All things Apple. I try to for my company, I tried to use Android just because I was like, let me switch it up. Let me switch it up with the business phone. Let me see if I'm gonna like it. And no, I did not like it. And I had it for a few months. I gave it some time. It wasn't like, like get it up out of here. It was like, I'm gonna give it some time. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna try to utilize it. And then, man, just texting in green. I just don't. It ain't for me. It ain't for me, man. I appreciate y'all. It just ain't for me.
It ain't for everybody.
It ain't for everybody.
Exactly. It ain't for everybody.
Yeah, that's why I'm still with Android, just in case. Just in case you can have your cake and eat it too. I'm just saying. When it comes to phones, when it comes to phones, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm still using the wife and side chick analogy here, but I wanted to show you something that's dope. I can't show the iPhone that I recently purchased because I'm using it for Zoom, but let me show you guys something that I also purchased as well that I thought was really dope. I saw this online and I told myself, I got to get it. I got to get it for one of my Android phones. So I'm going to show it up to the screen here and show you guys this. Bam.
That is dope.
It's an
That's
80s.
nice.
It's an 80s hip hop cassette tape. It's an image of an 80s hip hop cassette tape, but it's a phone cover for the back of my Android phone.
That's dope. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I will fool a lot of people just by laying it on the table face down. Someone will come by and look at it and be like, that is one big cassette tape. Like, who still has that in 2021? Like, yeah, you know that's a cell phone, right? Yeah, man. Yeah, you can't get this in the store. You have to order it online.
Makes me want to get one because I'm like, that's a dope cover. I like that.
That is dope.
Very vintage.
That is dope. That is very dope. But I'm pretty sure it's an iPhone one out there somewhere.
Oh, you know what? There is I got this cover. It's a coworker of mine put me onto this. It's a cover out there for certain iPhones that you can get online because I don't think they sell this in stores either. But it's a phone case where it's a camera. It's not a real camera, but it's a camera. Actually, I got to show you guys. Do I have it around? Oh no, it's on my phone here that I'm using for Zoom. I got to show you guys what I'm talking about later on. But it's a photograph camera, but it's a case though. It's a phone case. It's an image of a camera, but it's a phone case for iPhone. You can't get it for Android. You can only get it for iPhone.
We got the cassette tape. You got the camera.
We got a cassette tape somewhere. I know we do.
Hey man, we talking about vintage stuff, man. I love vintage things.
I love it.
You know, I'm a vintage collector.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So switching gears, I know we got a number of things to talk about on the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. I actually had this show designed in advance to only focus on young Black men and mental health because we've been talking about it offline on doing a show about that, but we're just going to talk about a number of different things. But of course, like I said, this has not only been a good week for me, this has also been a very bittersweet week for me. And I had to put on my New York cap on to celebrate the life and legacy of DMX. First off, kudos to our very own DJ Roland. I got to give him a hand clap for putting together that DMX mix on the Beat Break Morning Show last week, man.
Where is that?
The DMX mix?
Yeah.
It's on demand.
I missed it.
Oh man, DJ Roland put it down, man. He put it down.
Man, I gotta find it.
Yeah, he put it down. DJ Roland put it down, man. In the last hour of the Beat Break Morning Show, we did it Saturday morning, actually, when news came out that Earl Simmons DMX passed away, and I spoke about it. I did a 20-minute piece on it where I spoke about how I got to learn about DMX and what he did for the hip hop culture and how much he has left a legacy to all of us, not just only to family members, friends, and people that admire DMX, but I also talked about how I got to know DMX and wishing that I had the opportunity to meet DMX because he's one of those few people in the show business that you want to meet. You say to yourself, I want to meet this person, I want to meet that person, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's not too many people you would say that I would want to meet in person or do an interview with, but DMX was one of those few people, man. And, you know, it's still bittersweet because it's still fresh. And, you know, it's just sad because it's like we wanted to see more from DMX, more music, more movies, you know, and see whatever direction he's gonna go, despite the trials and tribulations that DMX has been through in his life before and during his music career. We wanted to see more out of DMX, man. DJ Roland, how did you take it when you got the news about DMX?
Actually, when he was still in the hospital, I felt it. And I felt that his time is going to be coming to end real soon. And when I was making the mix, I put my all into it with the limited equipment I had, because I had to push something out there. And it took me, because my sister, back in the late 90s, was, to me, his biggest fan. She put him out there like crazy. And I've been hearing him on different songs that some folks really didn't hear before he got really out there on his solo tip with the Rough Riders Anthem song really blew up. And I'm like, he has the talent to push it. I'm like, why am I keep hearing him on other, duets and stuff? Why can't he have his own thing? He has the talent. He has the I guess the follower, when you call them followers then, but he had the talent in the crowd to do what he needed to do. And that's why I kind of when I make mixes and stuff, ones that I really feel, I kind of make it into a story of how he got started. I'm kind of verbally just saying what the mix is really about, is basically how he came out. And in one of the first songs he came out as a duet was with Aaliyah. And
Aaliyah, back in One Piece.
Yeah.
From off the Romeo Must Die soundtrack.
Exactly. That. Mm-hmm.
That was a great collaboration.
Yes. Very, very. And that's why I had to start off with that. And he did some other collaboration with other artists. And the one that we did talk about that finally won a Grammy, Nas. So that's why I even let the Nas lyric stay in that song. Even though I could have cut it, but I didn't, to understand that, wow, he really worked with a lot. He did work with Jay-Z and all that. So that's why I wanted people to he really did do some work. Now it's time to bring him in and whatnot, and did what I did and all that. And about some folks don't even remember this, he was on the Dr. Phil show, and he was on there and spit some lyrics and all that and all that. And but when you have trouble, you were talking about trials and tribulations that he had, when you have these demons on earth that you keep fighting, you're trying to live, and what God is first to you, but you keep having these daggone demons that just keep messing with you, and you don't know how to get rid of them.
Yeah. And
that's what he went through for the longest. Even when he did the verses with Snoop, he had those demons during the verses. If you really listen, he had it. Of course, going by what he remembers, but when you have those demons in you, man, and it's not a lot of folks that will come to light about it. He came to light about it through his music, and his music was his passion to fight off them. But when he didn't fight off them through the music, that's when it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and stuff. And then it finally, it came to an end. I am DMX, and that's how I ended it. So that was just my way of story of how he portrayed his musical career. And we wanted to have more, which some folks didn't know. He was here last month, back in March, during the NBA All-Star weekend at Sweet Lounge. And I'm like, wow, it wasn't pushed out there because we're in a pandemic, because you don't want to try to have a whole bunch of folks just come in there because like, oh, he here, let's try to get up in there. You know, he just happened to be here. And it is what it is. I'm sorry of his passing and whatnot. Like I said, my sister is his biggest fan. And when he did the real big one with L. Cool J, Redman, Method Man, Cannabis, and Master P on 4321, I'm like, this dude need to come out. And he did. And did a Rough Riders thing and with Eve and Locks and all that. So I'm like, phew, I had to put it out there. So a lot of folks know but don't know. And that was my job, to get them to know.
Yeah. I want to add some caveat to the conversation before I switch over to Adrian, because as we're talking, I'm looking at various videos of celebrities and people just teared up over the loss of DMX, including Roxanne Shante. Mm-hmm. I came across her video the other day as she was talking, and she was crying and talking at the same time. This lets you know that DMX touched a lot of lives, not just everyday regular people, but people in the industry. And Roxanne Shante shares this story about how her and DMX went through the same pain and adversities that they went through in the projects and coming up as kids, because people don't know the entire story of DMX, or when he was Earl, before he became DMX as a child, being in an abused home and being put into a foster home and having to get attacked maybe every other day or what have you. And so much stuff he has seen around in his community, violence and stuff like that. That plays a very mental role in your adolescent stage into adulthood. And when you go through those series of events mentally, it's like it's a form of PTSD. You know what I mean? It's a form of PTSD, and it's only so much that therapy can do for you. Like you mentioned Dr. Phil. He was on Dr. Phil's show. Of course, anybody that watches Dr. Phil, his purpose is to help people, right? He was also on Ayanna Van Sant's show, and I'm going to play a 5-minute clip from one of the episodes that Ayanna did with DMX about his troubling relationship with his firstborn, with his first son. And you know, DMX is teared up and everything, saying that he wants to have a relationship with his son, but his son doesn't want to have a relationship with him. So all these different things that DMX has went through, from being a child to being an adulthood, is like he was able to put all of that into music. And that's why so many people that have been fans and listeners of all the content that DMX has put out over the years is relatable. And I even mentioned this in my commentary on DMX, that DMX came out at a time when we had the shiny suit era. Bad Boy, Diddy, you know, even down south where we had Cash Money. Yeah, we had right. You had Cash Money and, you know, No Limit. Like all these labels were popping off, talking about money and bling bling and all that other stuff. DMX gave you the real because he came from that environment. He came from this part of the culture where he wanted to use this particular platform called hip hop to express his pain and adversities and challenges that he'd been through. And not only that, he was just a rapper out of Yonkers. He was a poet. So the stuff he was saying in his music, it was poetry to a lot of us, you know, and poetry also comes from pain and adversity and challenges as well, too. So Adrian, what do you make out of it? Like all these different things that he'd been through, from when he was a kid to the DMX that he was and still is. What do you make out of it, especially now that DMX is no longer here in the physical?
Man, you know, for one, I remember how I was introduced to DMX my uncle broke the CD when he saw it, or the tape when he saw it, because he had, he was coming out the blood, and and then he was like, that's the Antichrist.
It's dark and wait, now you talking about it's dark and hell is hot, or
it's dark and hell is hot.
Okay, it's dark and hell is hot. All right.
Yeah. And man, but I was a DMX fan. I loved his rawness, but I'm gonna say this, man. Like, what hearing his story, of course, not knowing everything, just hearing the background of what what we've watched, what we've kind of learned, what has been put out there, man, it was challenging, because some of those things and some of his demons I have fought. And so for me, it became personal hearing that stuff, because I dealt with a lot of stuff as a young man, as a young boy growing up. And then to see him kind of like, hit this pinnacle and this plateau, it kind of showed me like, yo, it doesn't matter what happened to you. It's the fight that's within you that allows you to keep going, and you can make something of it. But then also now looking at it, it is the sustainability after we reach a certain place that we gauge or fight and continue to war within these mental battles and these demons and so forth and so on, that we don't succumb to them. And I think that, I've heard different stories about the cause of death, heart attack, drug overdose, whatever the case. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was drugs that led to the heart attack, whatever it may be. But we just know that, there was some trouble there, with him. But man, at the end of the day, for me, how it hit me was I looked at DMX as someone that persevered, someone that came out the mud, someone that was a fighter, someone that had a story of not just your tip. I hate to use the word typical, but not just your typical rap guy story. Like, I was on the corner selling drugs and daddy wasn't home. Like, no, like foster care, abuse, like, what I'm saying? Like that narrative. So it spoke to me because I was molested, I was raped. You know what I'm saying? So like, it allowed me to be like, oh, there is somebody that can relate to this story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like within me, because a lot of times you just don't hear that. And not because it's not happening. I just think it's because it's not celebrated, or it's not put on Front Street, this particular narrative or this particular story. And then also a lot of people don't want to talk about that because, it may open up certain things of questions or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But man, one of the things, man, I just want to, it was like when I got the news, death now does something to me, man. And I hate at times that it does. But, and I don't, like, a lot of times people are like, well, y'all didn't even know him. Like, come on, like, like, come on, like, please miss me with all of that. Like, you don't, or we only can grieve people we know. Like, the world grieved Kobe. We knew him. We watched him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we listened to DMX. We watched his stories. We followed the music. What do you mean? Like, people grieve Prince. People grieve Michael Jackson. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, like when people say these insensitive things as if like people connect to music, like being a former pastor, man, like people automatically equate just if we're singing about gospel that's singing about God that's gospel. I firmly believe you don't have to mention Jesus' name and God's name for it to hit your spirit and hit your soul. There have been plenty of songs that I don't listen to that was a rap song or that was an R&B song that hit me somewhere and I done broke down, like, and had to man up, like, man, get it together, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, the first time I heard Song cry, I was like, Jay need to get off his but man, like, but somewhere we connect to this music and we connect to that artist, and we feel like that artist is utilizing their platform to speak our narratives. And man, and that's what I felt about DMX. I felt like DMX utilized the platform. And man, it was so crazy. 2 months ago, I had a red-eye flight from LA to Atlanta, and DMX was on it. And dude, I like fanboyed, like fully fanboy. He was in a wheelchair, like they was wheeling him in a wheelchair. And I was like, dang, like DMX look bad. But like at first, you see somebody, you like, is that? And you like looking, and everybody got their mask on, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, they're like DMX. And then I'm literally looking at him, I'm like, I think it's him. And I'm looking at him, and then he got Timberlands on. I said, that's DMX. And so, man, like I got on the plane, and then they had put him on first because, of course, he was like I said, he was in a wheelchair. And I don't think it was because like he couldn't walk. He could walk. I just think that they was like kind of wheel him around just because I think he was exhausted. I think he looked like he was tired. And I just think like he just didn't want to walk through the airport, if I'm honest.
Right.
And so, man, when I got on the plane, like I spoke to him, and he was like, what's up? I'm like I was like, I'm like, dang, do I want to ask for a picture, but it's COVID, you know what I'm saying? Like, but man, like even in moments like that, man, you just feel like you see a superhero in a certain aspect, you know what I'm saying? And not a superhero as in perfection, not in perfection. You see a superhero because they spoke your story, and they were not afraid to like I don't know how many men could feel that, oh, I can talk about being molested or being this way because I seen a man's man do it. DMX was a man's man, dude.
Yeah, he is. And one key word you just said just now, superhero.
Mm-hmm.
He was and still is a superhero, not just because of his music, but because DMX was an approachable guy. It's not too many celebrities that you would go up to ask for a picture or autograph or whatever. Like DMX just wanted to be treated like a regular person. You can't just go up to an artist like a Busta Rhymes for a picture. You can't go up to Jay-Z for a picture or Mariah Carey for a picture. It's like you got to go through 10, 11 different people to get an autograph or a picture of your famous celebrity hero or inspiration, whatever you want to call it. But DMX was just so approachable. Like I'm going through my timeline during the day, the day when news broke out, DMX passed. I'm going through my timeline, and half of the people that I know in the industry have taken a photo with DMX. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so jealous right now. I'm sad that we lost a great icon, but I'm also jelly. I'm also jealous because half of my people, half of my circle have taken a picture with DMX, and I have not taken a picture. I mean, I've taken pictures with other great celebrities, including Common, Common, and who else have I? What's his name from Goody Mob? The artist name, Timo.
CeeLo.
Not CeeLo.
Not CeeLo. Big Grip is who I want to meet in Goody Mob. Yeah, I want to meet Big Grip.
That was my guy. I want to meet the entire group, not just only one person from Goody Mob, but the entire group. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. Adrian, DMX was our hero. He was,
man. He gave us language, man, for Black men with mental health. I know we celebrate, and I celebrate them. I'm not gonna say I don't. I know we celebrate Charlemagne the God for bringing a lot of light to counseling and Black men and mental health for Black men, and that is the truth. But also, I think what cracked the sky open for Black men to be transparent and honest about being molested or being beaten or just being mistreated. It was the fact that DMX went on a platform consistently, not just one time. We don't have sound bites from one interview. Consistently shared his story that he could have omitted. Like I think that's the part that gets me, because we have the option and the right to omit whatever we want to out of our own narratives.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if I feel like, oh, that's not going to be received well, that's not going to be received well, that's not going to be said, that's not going to be, or people going to look at me different, people going to judge me, people going to think that, if a man molested me, then, oh, now they questioning my sexuality, I'm going to omit that. DMX was like, yo, this is what happened to me. You can take it or leave it. This is my truth. And that's what I think a superhero is to me, to be able to sit in your truth and allow other people, especially Black men, to be okay with sharing narratives and stories about what they have experienced, good, bad, or indifferent, and just say, you know what, it is what it is. He allowed us to be honest.
Yeah.
He gave us the space to be honest, bro. And that's, I think that's the part that I think we overlook with DMX. Everybody, I mean, I do, because I love hip hop. I love the culture. I love culture. I own a sneaker store. Sneakers are a part of rap culture for me. It's just a part of the culture. Everything is a part of culture for me. But I get the question a lot about, Biggie or Tupac, and to me, I think Biggie was the better lyricist. I love Tupac as a man that could express his emotion, whether he was mad, right, indifferent, wrong. He just would talk to you. I think those are the things that we miss. People being brutally honest. And I think that that's the thing that we're going to miss about DMX, that will be overlooked, because DMX, as much as, as much music as he put out, as much as Rough Riders was a thing that, really when Rough Riders, Swiss Beats, and they just had a sound. Everybody had a sound. Every group had a sound. You had Timbaland, Missy, and Magoo, and Aaliyah, and Genuine. They had their sound. Cash Money had their sound. Master P and them had their sound. And it was like Rough Riders came out with their own sound, but DMX gave a language to it. But then he was like, yo, I just ain't gonna be the dude that doesn't talk about what brought me to this point. And that's what I appreciate about somebody like a DMX. If I'm going to remember his legacy, it's going to be for that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. And we'll get into the mental health discussion among Black men in the next hour of the podcast. But I want to ask you guys this, because you brought up a good point, Adrian. Do you all think that DMX, throughout his music career, throughout his rap career, do you think he was underrated? And the reason why I ask that is because in the books, when we talk about hip hop and who was the best rapper or the greatest rapper of all time, we always hear Jay-Z, we hear Lil Wayne, we hear this person, we hear that person, Biggie, Tupac, like Adrian mentioned. Do you think DMX was underrated as an artist?
Yeah, definitely. He was definitely underrated. Not to add another person, but I got to. It's like how Nas was underrated. So
DJ Roller played a Nas mix in the previous episode of the Beat Break Morning Show.
Yeah, he was very underrated, and also DMX was, I think to my knowledge, just a nominated Grammy artist. Nominated, just like
he's a Grammy Award winner now.
Oh yeah, Nas is. But I'm just saying that DMX was nominated and didn't win. And he could have won himself and whatnot because of his, what people always look at, your personal life outside of the music, that has a big, thing in the front. Since he had all these demons going on, like, nah, we'll nominate him. We ain't gonna give him the actual award because he got all this negativity going on.
Well, Eminem talked about his mother in several songs, and he still won Grammys.
What color is Eminem?
Bingo.
I knew you was going.
That's why.
I knew you was going.
If a black person talks about their mother
card.
like that, man, nah, nah. And he brought up a good point. I mean, a lot of folks, and how many white folks really would put that out there and be a musician, artist, out like the way DMX did? Nah, they ain't gonna do it like the way DMX did. He put it out raw, and nothing didn't stop him, and he put it out there. And now people are like, oh, okay. You know, because when I first heard him, and I was still in my early years of DJing, I was like, dang, it's like another Tupac kind of thing.
I knew you was gonna say that.
I knew it. I mean, that's what I felt. That's what I felt. At those later 90s, that's what I felt. I'm like, dang, another Tupac kind of thing.
People comparing him to Tupac.
And that's the reason why I brought up the Tupac Biggie thing, because everybody compared him to Tupac, because I think it was that rawness. I think it was that just coming off the cuff. You know, he just came in. He just like DMX definitely. I agree with DJ Rollum. DMX definitely was an underrated rapper, underrated lyricist. But here's the thing: people were scared of him. People were scared to rap him. And as much as I'm a Jay-Z fan, we hear the stories. We hear the stories. Nobody will talk about when they battled each other. They'll talk about that it happened. They'll talk about that it happened. They talk about that it went back and forth. They say it was a crazy battle, but nobody will say who won. And here is my thing with that. Here's my thing with I love Jay-Z. Jay-Z is one of my favorites. But I think the reason why they won't say it is because of who has more to lose.
Right.
See, Jay-Z is not a battle rapper. To me, he's never been to me a battle rapper.
Nah.
He's never been
no,
a battle rapper.
Of course not. And so I definitely agree. But man, the ability to do, I think the ability to be what's the word I want to use? Controlled emotions. To me, that's like at times Tupac was just all emotions, no control. DMX, even as loud and barking and da 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 da, but he had controlled emotions, like slipping or falling. I can't get up. Come on, man.
One of my favorite songs. Man. One of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
slipping, falling. I'm like, like you related to that, and he made speaking of his stuff and rapping about his stuff, like, and again, Roland, you hit it dead on when you say what color is Eminem, because DMX could rap about the same stuff, and people will overlook him. Eminem rap about it, and we put the highlight on it.
Yeah, and his cadence, DMX, his cadence just stood out. Like people started doing impressions of DMX. I found myself doing impressions of DMX. Going into his voice, like, where my dog?
I don't know, Sean, did you really listen to the mix? Because I put a little of the snippets of them in there, because it was not part of the song. I went back
and I listened to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to do it like that, because I'm like, that's one of a kind. You can't duplicate that. You can't duplicate that. That's why I had to do what I had to do with that, because that was so special to me. That's why it was in my heart. Because when I put not saying I don't put my all into my mixes, but when you put heart with the mix into it, it's totally different. It's a different outcome.
Yeah,
it's a different outcome from it.
We got a lot of great comments from people who love the mix.
Dude, I can't wait to hear this mix, because Roland, I missed it. And man, normally, like, ever since I've been on the show, man, I've been on it. I don't know how I missed this one. So I'm gonna have to get on it, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear this.
We're gonna have to do a special delivery.
Yeah,
courtesy from the Beat Break Morning Show. Send it over to Adrian Davis. We're gonna have to make that happen.
Please. Please. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Really quick, what is your favorite DMX song? Tough one.
Oh.
Why do I have a feeling Adrian is about to say what they really want from me?
No, it's that never mind. Yo, give me the dough. On 5-0, see Joe. Hit that.
Oh, how's it going down?
Bruh, I love how's it going down.
I like that song too.
Dude, like that line right there. I think we missed the genius of that line.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, or that whole stance. He was like, go up to 150, see Joe, get that. Come back, we gonna split that. We gonna hit that, Papa L, and sit back. Like I'm like, X was telling him. He was like, girl, listen, if you gonna ride with me, this what we doing right now.
Right. That was catchy. Very
how's
catchy.
It going down? Because this is the thing. I would love all my hood stuff. I got a nice ratchery to me, and
we all do.
I love that when I'm. I love it when I'm like, man, like I love a lot of what DMX did, period, across the board. But that was like a universe. That was like a cross, like it showed to me DMX in a different light, but it still was him. Yeah. It was like let me give y'all something commercial, but that's me.
Yeah, he was versatile. Yeah,
man.
I mean, every song is not gonna be like. Yeah. You're gonna have to sometime calm the dog down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Calm the dog down. Put the dog on a leash for a moment.
But the deal. Yeah, I loved it, man.
Yeah. What about you, DJ Roland? Favorite?
Yeah. I'm ready to hear what Roland's choice is.
Yeah, because I know what mine are.
Yeah, because I gotta hear yours.
Yeah.
Right here. That's the chorus of it. Every time I hear it, I sing it with them, man. I just like, man, I just go with the flow. I just love that. It's like a bring me back to reality kind of thing. Be right here. So
we're right here. Okay.
We ain't going nowhere. That's how I feel about you and I, Sean. We ain't going nowhere. I don't care what y'all say. Yeah. We ain't going nowhere. Yeah. That's how I feel, man.
Do you have another favorite song? I guess the question I should have asked is, or to rephrase it, favorite songs from DMX. Because it just can't be just one. Yeah.
Now, all right, so of course, man, the Rough Riders anthem, that dun 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 dun, like when you heard that, and then but here's the mind-blowing thing: the stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop, but then it was like that was hidden. Then you come back, my dog's going up, like with the remix, and then the remix was crazy, and it's like the same person. So like that joint, man, it's so many from DMX that I really, really, really liked. But like to summarize, like Hell is Hot for me, like that album, I just love that album.
I think the first album is the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
First, out of all the albums, it's the best.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I agree. Just like Nas Illmatic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like Nas Illmatic. Some of the albums were great, some of the albums were good, but it did not top Illmatic. Just same thing with DMX. DMX has made some good albums, but the first one is Dark and Hell is Hot. You can't top that.
Right.
Can't top that. Speaking of It's Dark and Hell is Hot, I'm with you on How's It Going Down. I actually like the other version with Faith Evans on it.
Oh yeah.
Because on the It's Dark and Hell is Hot, it doesn't have Faith Evans' verse on there.
It does not.
It does not.
Nope.
Which is crazy to me.
Yep.
I
wonder why is that though?
Probably
DJ Rollum, do you know?
Probably a label thing, a management thing.
I was gonna say that. That's probably what it is from there, because Bad Boy was still hot at that time. and whatnot. So even though Biggie already passed and whatnot, it was still hot because that's what Puffy was doing. And he still had royalties with Faith and all that stuff. That couldn't just put it on the actual album. You could put it on a single, but not the actual album.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. So how's it going down? To me, of course, hands down, Get At Me Dog. Get At Me Dog.
Get it? Yeah.
His first radio single.
Yeah.
Get At Me Dog. I mean, he literally said, "We're gonna take it back to the streets, mother bitch."
I mean, that's exactly how it starts up. Get at me, dog. Get at me, dog. If you're not careful, bro, you just smack somebody just off reflex. You just smack somebody. just because. Just
like,
because
did I just get slapped?
Yeah, like you be listening to it at the airport, just and just you just got to be careful. Like when you listen to Get At Me Dog, like you just got to come with a warning. I'm listening to DMX, Get At Me Dog right now.
Yeah, so, like this is the disclaimer.
This please move.
Yeah, man. And it was a crazy. Shout out to Hype Williams, man, because he did that video, Get At Me Dog, in the tunnel. For all my New Yorkers, shout out to the tunnel. I mean, did that in black and white. I was like, oh my goodness. It was a breath of fresh air. Definitely breath of fresh air, I mean, dude. Nas, I give props to Nas because Nas held it down, but it was that big void after it was written. It was that big void after it was written. And then, of course, the Jay-Z's came out. Ja Rule came out around the same time, but we needed that DMX though. We needed a person like DMX to come.
Did you think Ja Rule was trying to take DMX thunder?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course he did. He was.
I know you asked the questions, bro. I know you asked the questions. I'm just a guest.
Let me call.
I'm just a guest. I'm just.
Hey, hello.
Yes, we talking about men's mental health, but I just had to pose that question, shot.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, DMX knows about Tupac, but he ain't trying to take no Tupac spot or anything. DMX wanted to be on his own and on his own. When his stardom really came out in the forefront, and that's when Ja Rule was beginning, like, all right, all I can do is collaboration stuff. Can't really push anything by myself and whatnot. So yeah, so he tried and get a little deeper with his voice or something. I mean, come on, he couldn't hang. He had a couple good songs, and that's it.
What would I be without my baby?
Yeah, that's it.
I go crazy.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
that was the song. I believe that was a song that DMX could have did too.
For sure.
He would have made it a whole lot different. I know that, with a better sound to me. With a better sound.
I mean, originality was very, very important back in that day in hip hop, because we're talking about 97, 98, 99. You knew when you heard a Tupac. You knew when you heard a Biggie. You knew when you heard a Jay-Z. You knew you heard a Raekwon. You knew you heard a Method Man, Redman, Ghostface Killer. The list goes on and on and on. You never heard an artist sound like another artist. Nowadays,
that's another episode of a Beat Break right there, man. Because I'm like,
hey,
man.
Hey, yeah, man.
And just being real. What's your originality?
And another
song. You don't have the same DJs. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the same DJs. Why in the world are you gonna have all the same daggone artists? Just being real.
Hey, man, it is what it is. And my last favorite song, one of my favorite songs from DMX before we transition, is What They Really Want.
Oh, yeah.
Featuring Cisco. What They Really Want.
Cisco ain't got them all. I know he don't. But he killed. Like, that collaboration was everything. And every black man has asked that question.
What they really want.
Every black man.
We still asking that question, ladies and gentlemen.
To this day.
Hey, doesn't that follow from the last week's episode?
To this day.
Great transition.
What did I tell you how to say? To this day.
Great transition.
Still asking.
Hey man, WBS 87 FM Atlanta, Reach One Network, a Reach One communication station. And we are also simulcasting on thinkingoutloudnetwork.com. It's the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. Sean Garvey, DJ Roland with our special guest, Adrian Davis, on the live line with us. And we are just shooting the breeze. We're touching on a number of different things right here on the Beat Break Morning Show. We usually stick to one topic, but we're talking about a number of different things because a number of different things has happened over the past few days. And since we're talking about what they really want from a person, to recap from the morning show episode we did on Women Don't Like Nice Guys, DJ Roland, Adrian, I have gotten, since that episode aired, I have gotten so much criticism. and
I wonder how y'all didn't call me for that episode. That's what I'm wondering. How y'all call me for the mental health?
All I'm saying is, I'm sorry.
Sean, come on.
Hey, I'm sorry. We got you next time, Adrian. Look, hey, listen, we had so many people. We had so many people on the live line. Shout outs to Steven, shout outs to Star Kells, Just a Touch of J, Tamiko Drummond was on there. Also, shout out to Dynasty Smith. She wasn't on the live line as we were talking about this particular subject, but it got heavy. It got heavy and intense on the show there. Oh, I forgot one other person too. I did say we had a lot of people on the live line. Gavin was also on that particular episode too. And yeah, I mean, it stemmed from a joke that comedian Chris Rock did in the late 90s, where he said that women don't like nice guys. And he gave his explanation in the most funniest way he knows how. And I want to clear up some things because I felt like DJ Roland, I felt like I didn't say everything I wanted to say in that episode because I was letting everybody talk. Like I said, it was a lot of people on the live line. I put in my 2 cents in the conversation, but I wanted to just kind of clear up some things because, like I said, I gotten feedback from people that listen to the show, and there were some people that agree with what I said. Some people disagree with what I said. And that goes for everybody that was on the morning show last week. So, I mean, DJ Roland, let me clear up some things real quick. Okay. Because some people got confused about the whole nice guy thing. Right. And we living in a time right now where I feel like, in my honest opinion, nice guys still finish last. And it's always been like that. It has. But when I say nice guy, right? When I say nice guy, because I made it perfectly clear when I was asked by one of the guests who was on the show last week, what is the definition of a nice guy? Or what is a nice guy? Who is a nice guy? I kept it simple and plain. I said that a nice guy is someone who shows respect to other people, including the person that he's with, who opens the door for a person or for a woman, who courts a woman, who do all these great things for a woman, et cetera, et cetera. And one of our guests said that that's what a gentleman do. That's not what necessarily a nice guy is for. It's something that a gentleman would do. But just because you're a nice guy doesn't mean that you would do all those things. Those are what a gentleman would do. But let me just clear something up here, because I've been saying this, that women have said that they just want a nice guy, right? And then when they meet a nice guy, I'm always that whole thing, you get what you ask for, right? When you meet a nice guy, you kind of be like, oh, okay, you're trying to find what is wrong with this person. There's got to be something wrong. There's got to be another layer to this thing, because he seems so good to be true. Adrian is clapping his hands in the background that he can't wait to put in his 2 cents, right? So
I'm just celebrating your wisdom, brother.
Well, I'm saying I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out like you, Adrian, because to this very day, I still consider myself as a nice guy. And I have been through my recent adventures of talking to women that all said the same thing, that they want a nice guy that treats them good, great communication, honesty, and what have you. And then when you're trying to build something with that woman, it's like you get all these different excuses. Whether it's, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I can't communicate with you the way that I want to because I'm so busy with school, work, this, that, and the other. Or it's like, oh, you a nice guy and everything, but I want more, and this, that. And I'm just confused. So goes back to what DMX has been asking, what they really want.
What they really want.
I'm confused. Like, you said you want a nice guy, but it seems like you want more than just a nice guy.
I know what they want.
What they want, Adrian? Talk to me, man. What they want?
Women want an educated, spiritual thug that's financially stable, a hint of mentally crazy and controlling, slightly a little jealous, and amazing provider and protector. They want all of those things wrapped up in one man. They want all those things wrapped up in one man.
So build a bear. So build a bear.
Bingo. Give me this. No, but no, man, I say that jokingly, but part of it is very, very true. I think that, man, Sean, you put out some excellent points. I don't know if I can. I think I consider myself a nice guy, right? And sometimes more nice than I want to be. And when I say that, I really could be an a-hole if I wanted to, but I'm not. So then, therefore, it can be, you know, it could be kind of put to where like a man doesn't know how to close a door. Now, let me ask you this question in conjunction to this. When have you all, as men, broken up with a girl and it was a smooth breakup? Because this is getting
right here.
This is getting to a point. This is getting to a point about getting to the point about being a nice guy.
Okay.
So I'm asking to get to a point. I ain't trying to take us somewhere else. I'm just trying to get to a point.
I got you.
So you have, Sean?
I have. Yeah, I will admit. Yes, sir.
Me
okay,
too.
You broke up with a girl. It was a smooth breakup.
Smooth breakup. Yes, sir.
Not
an easy one. Not an easy one.
So wait a minute. So what do you mean not easy?
Not easy from her end or for both of our ends, because even though it was smooth, it was still hard in our hearts because of how we went about it. You know, it was kind of like, to put it in all perspective, it's like, I really don't want to break up with this person, but I have to in order to make sure that I know what it is that I really want.
So, Sean, what you're saying is it was mutual.
Yeah, it was mutual.
That's not, I'm talking about where she wanted you and you broke up and it just went that way. Because this is what happens with the nice guy. The woman finally realizes, I want the nice guy. The nice guy then exuded all of his effort and energy trying to prove he a nice guy. By the time he get her, he's like, you know what? I'm tired of trying to prove to you. Y'all get together, da. She's still looking for the flaws, highlighting every little thing that could be possibly wrong. And I'm not saying this to everybody, because I know everybody gonna be like, that ain't for real, and that ain't no, it's not every story. I'm just saying. And then if a guy, I mentor a lot of Black men. I have not met one Black man that said he broke up with a girl that still wanted him, and the breakup went smoothly. Until the breakup doesn't happen until she decides that they want to break up.
Mm.
We were on
pause mode. We were on pause mode.
Because what you just said, Sean, you said that was a mutual agreement. We both know it was hard. It was difficult. We have,
right.
We're not seeing eye to eye. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. So we decide, we parting ways. That's one thing. But I'm talking about where she's saying, I want this. I want to be in a relationship with you. And you saying, no, I don't. And I'm going to tell you, this is where the nice guy gets trampled on. Because the nice guy knows that the relationship ain't going nowhere, but you got to stick around and soothe her emotions because of the picture she's going to paint about you.
Right. But see,
it's called manipulation.
But see, here's okay. So my ex, not my current ex, but the woman that I was with years ago, right? She was a nice girl. She still is a nice girl. But I was a guy who was still trying to figure things out. And plus, I wasn't ready to be in a committed relationship with her. I felt like, this is a nice girl and what have you, but is she really the one for me? Okay. And knowing that I know now that in the past, I probably would have still been in the relationship with her because Adrian, she was one of those sisters that don't come a dime a dozen each day. And women like that.
I know she don't.
Like that. And women like that.
I know she don't because you said one of these sisters. Like you called her a sister.
I know she don't come. She's a sister queen. I'm sorry. I'm talking in my Afrocentric voice. My bad.
Okay, I got it. One of these sisters.
Yes. But she was definitely a nice girl. And what I did share in the episode that me and DJ Roland did with the guest last week was that I was in a relationship last year to where the woman that I was with for 2 years broke things off with me. And it was because of, she just changed. Like one of the things I forgot to say in the episode was that people change and they want more than what they have. So she started to be in that mindset of changing and wanting more and this, that, and the third. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm a nice guy. But then I had to come to the realization that what she did to me was the same thing I did to my ex years ago. So it was karma. It was karma, baby. It was karma. And I was like, oh, no. This cannot be happening. And so now I'm in the dating scene. I'm mingling and what have you, talking to women. I'm presenting myself as the nice guy. I'm ready to settle down, ready to be in a relationship with someone that I can build with, someone that I have a great chemistry with. But we don't even get past the first date. All we're doing is texting. And we don't even do no video chat or anything. Every time I hit you up, you be like, "Oh, I'm too busy."
All right, so wait a minute, Sean, because man, I'm a busy guy, right? I'm a busy guy.
We all are. Roland, myself, you.
All right. So man, I'm trying to build a business. I'm on auditions for acting. I'm in acting class. I'm in school. I'm doing all types of stuff. I'm, building a company, doing a docuseries. But I think the key is, I think a part of it is to show some level of investment in the things that they're passionate about and try to, as much as they would like to, invite them into your world. And I'm at a point right now, I was talking to one of my boys and we were joking. I was like, right now, man, listen, if the woman I'm trying to build with, if I'm not being her cheerleader for what she has going on. I got a branding and marketing company. Like if I'm asking her like, hey, so where do you see or where do you want your brand to be, or where do you want this to be? And in the back of my mind, I'm starting to create a rollout plan for what she wants and all these other type of things. And then I'm like, yo, if I can be that support and that cheerleader to her, then also at the same time, she come in my world and be whatever my life is deficient of, then it's just like, how is this beneficial to where I am right now? Because where I am right now, I'm trying to build something. You know, I'm at a place now that my mind is consistently on legacy. You know, it's on what am I leaving? You know, and I tell you guys this, but you know, and the listeners, like, man, you know, I went through a string of deaths. My stepfather died to kidney failure. 2 months after that, my father died in a car wreck. 6 months after that, my brother died to cancer. My stepmother just passed away. Like, where my mind is, and every last one of those men that passed in my life, I preached their funeral and paid for their funeral. So at this point, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about, I don't want nobody to have to deal with that when I leave.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build something. And as much as I have been a proponent for corporate America, going to college and things of that nature, man, here's the reality. The reality of it is you can work in that corporate America job for 40 years. Guess what? You can't pass that to your child. And that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. I got an adopted daughter. I adopted her when she was 17, man. Like, and I'm thinking about, you know, I don't even have, you know, like natural children just yet, but I'm thinking, man, like, what am I, you know, I got to set myself up to leave something for this next generation. And I think that is the difference. And especially if we were having a conversation between us and between, you know, Black men versus our Caucasian counterparts, one of the biggest things now we could talk about, we know racism still exists. We know that things aren't equal. We know that we're not on an even playing field. But one of the biggest things is inheritance. It's we leave a bill, they leave a will. So
that's deep.
So my mind is, yo, like if we're doing this, and listen, we're gonna work hard and we're gonna play hard, but there's a time to hone in. And you know, like, I know our generation, our culture emphasizes balance, and we talk about balance all the time. But man, like I told y'all before, man, it's about priority, man. It's impossible to balance everything. At a certain season, it's just certain things are major priorities. So either you're gonna be with me, we're gonna lean into this priority together, and then we're gonna make building together a priority, and then we're gonna make traveling together a priority. We're gonna make having kids a priority. We're gonna make, you know, grooming our kids and doing those things a priority. But at the end of the day, man, like, if we're not building together and we're not adding value to each other, then what are we doing?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And see, what I was going to say, and you made a very great point too, Adrian. What I was going to say was, I don't want to be single and now I'm here. I'm at that place right now where I'm fully established. I got this thing going on, boom, boom, boom. And then here comes somebody that I had tried to get with in the past while I was in the building stages. And you was like, oh, I don't have time right now. I got stuff to do. But now I'm on this Byron Allen level. I'm on this Tyler Perry level. You now want to come in and be like, hey, like, no, we're not building.
Back then, you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike Jones.
and that's why I'm having the issues that I'm having in the dating world right now, because I have tried to bring some of the women that well, here's the thing. I'm not a serial dater. So I like to focus on one person. If me and her don't work out, it's on to the next, right?
I hear you, Sean.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a player. I'm not a player no more. But I have tried to, this one woman that I went on a date with and what have you, I tried to bring her on the podcast. She didn't want to come through. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. I just kept it moving, right? But at the same time, when I get to that level, when I get to that $1 million level, baby, which we all are on this live, when we get to that $1 million level, don't be like, okay, I want to be on your podcast now. Like, nope. You had your chance. Know what I mean?
Listen, Roland, chime in with this before I say something else, because Roland, I want to hear. Roland, what's your what's your take on it? Because man, like I think that I don't necessarily think that nice guys always finish last, but I do think nice guys are oftentimes overlooked because we're not overbearing.
Because they said that one woman said in the live last week that nobody doesn't want to push over.
That's what I mean.
Wasn't that Star who said that?
That was, I think that was Star Kells.
Thing about with nice guys, in my opinion, is not only we're overlooked, they think that, all right, I'll wait for that nice guy depending on certain attributes of that nice guy. I want to have all this fun. I want to live on the edge and all that stuff. And when I'm tired of it, that's something to settle down to. Like they put out memes of, they didn't want to be with a guy like me and Sean, or even you back in the day, but I had enough of these roughness, all this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm ready to settle down. Now, if we are available and if we like you and depending on if, you don't seem to be no trouble, then we'll think about it. But it all depends, because I know I met a bunch of women who I wanted to get with back in the day. They didn't want to get with me. Now I'm older and all that stuff, and like, oh, we can try to go on a date. I think you're a nice guy. You were a nice guy back then, and all that. And I'm like, man, this is a bull. But
Roland, do you give him a chance?
Years ago I did. I mean, I'm engaged now, so I mean, I make no difference.
The ship has sailed.
Make no
bye bye,
ladies.
ladies.
But that's what I saw. That's what I saw, and it's always is that we're like the life everlasting type of guy, and the type of guys that some of these women like. They're like, well, I want that roughness and whatnot, but you don't know how much of a roughness you can get with a nice guy if you push him to it and whatnot, because you just never know. You never know. And then when it comes out, they be all shocked and like, I didn't know you were like this.
Guys, what I think every now and then a woman wants to almost feel threatened for her life a little bit. Like she talking real reckless to you, and you a nice guy, and you be like, man, if you don't sit your, and then she be like, I'm gonna go sit down. I'm on. All right.
Yeah.
And then she takes her girl, like something about him raising his voice at me that he never does just turn me on. I just don't know. I think just every now and then, like you and actually I think it's the dysfunction. It's dysfunctional, but something about it does something to women every now and then.
But do you think it's how you was raised though? Because
yes, for sure.
Little girl can see that between her parents get into an argument. Sure. Dad says, if you don't go sit your down or what have you, and kids soak up things like sponges, that it bleeds into their adulthood, and they think that's normal.
For sure. I definitely think that, man. I'm gonna tell you, and this kind of segue,
into mental health.
Yeah, because it's however we're introduced to a thing is how we will remember a thing. For example, in my case, I was molested. I was touched wrong by a man. I was raped by a woman at the age of 13. Two different occasions, but both at the same age of 13. Both of them, the man was a family member. The woman was a close friend of the family. Both of them close, been around my family all my life, told me they love me. and then they do something like this, then immediately that's how you begin to interpret love. Because somebody that loved me did this. So now what that did is that trained me to feel like every time I feel that I love someone, I gotta be physical with them. The first thing that we kind of lean into when we feel the love is is let me give of my body to you. It's not let me open up my heart and communication. Let me be transparent. Let me be vulnerable. Because I learned that through my own dysfunction of things that I've worked through, I counsel people, but then also I have a counselor. But I've learned that through my own dysfunction that that I was able to give of my body before I was able to be emotionally available.
Yeah,
and it's how I was able to give of my body before I was able to be emotionally available. It's and really, if we were to dig a little bit deeper, the man body part is the plug. She's the socket. We can give out, but we have a hard time dealing within. She, because she receives, it's more internal, more emotional. You're in me. It's in, like, you know what I'm saying? It's here. It's in my inner parts. But this is external. I can give, but I can't allow in. And so therefore, sometimes it is very easy for us, based upon how we were raised, based upon life, based upon whatever, to be more open to share physically without sharing emotionally or having that place of vulnerability. So this is the reason why, and you know, man, if I was to dig a little bit more on the male side, we groom our boys. Like I'm a mentor to a lot of people. We groom our boys. I'm doing a docu-series on Black and brown boys now. We groom our boys to literally almost be womanizers to a certain age, and then expect for them to snap out of it. You ever had those conversations with like your uncles and stuff, and they be like, you know, how many girlfriends you got? And then you be like, oh, I got one. And they be like, one? Boy, what's wrong with you? Boy, when I was your age, boy, man, I had about 6 of them things, boy. And you just like, you like, okay, well, shoot. I need to up the ante then. What I'm, you know, and then now you have this mentality, because these are the men that you look up to, that I want to please these men, right? So it's now the mentality is let me deal with multiple women. And then now you begin to cut off more and more of your emotion, but then more and more of your involvement. Involvement does not equate emotional availability. So I could be involved with you and not be emotional with you. If I bring you into my world and I share my heart with you, or I share vulnerability with you, or I'm able to have hard conversations with you, that's me trying to open up my heart and my mind and be vulnerable. But if all I'm doing is giving you sex, like, you may feel like that's something that's not anything. When a man can share his secrets with you, that is the thing that can attest to the fact of how well he trusts you. Not because he can lay down with you. We're just groomed that way. And then all of a sudden, you know, in Roland's case, Roland meets a woman, be like, this is who I want to be with. And then he proposes. Now all of a sudden, like when we meet somebody, we supposed to automatically know, hey, how to be emotionally available, how to cut off other women and not do this anymore. But we've been doing this for years. If we've been groomed in that based upon how we were raised. And again, I'm speaking of how I was raised. Every man is not raised this way. I'm speaking of how I was raised, and I'm speaking about how other men that I mentor were raised. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I do believe that it is a cultural battle that we have, that majority of our African-American men, we do not know how to communicate our emotions and our feelings. We know how to have sex. We do. We'll talk about all the things that we did to her sexually that made her do this and made her do that. But we don't know how to be available with our heart and our emotions to even say things like, I miss you. That's vulnerability.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Yeah.
Hey, I really care. Hey, I really care for you. Hey, I'm enjoying what we're building. This means a lot to me. And yo, you mean a lot to me. So yo, like, I'm trying to do the right thing here.
Right. Wow. And you hit something like, I didn't think about that as far as the uncles that we had about how they tell us. Yeah, groomed us, because it was, to me, like, I now think about that part of the conversation, but I also think about in grade school, elementary, middle school, as well as high school, the pressures of people coming up to you, guys especially, coming up to you and asking you, hey, did you hit that? Or, how many women you got? And did you have sex with this person and stuff like that? Now you pressured to give up your virginity, or to try to find some young lady down the hall to have sex with, because the people, the guys that come up to you and ask you, did you hit that? They know that you're lying. They're gonna know that you're lying. Like, they're gonna tease you and bully you, like, oh man, this guy's weak, he's lame.
And you want to fit in so bad. We want to fit in so bad. And it's cultural.
Yeah, it is. And it plays a very huge part in mental health. And I'm so glad that we segue into it, because we were talking a little bit about it earlier, especially with DMX, when he was young and all the things that he went through as an adolescent and as a kid. And now when it comes to mental health in today's society among young Black men, it's very vital that we have this conversation. People think that PTSD only happens when you are in the military, when you're in the army and you come back and you paranoid, or you are just in that state of mind where it's not stable. Yep. But you can get PTSD without having to be in the military or in the army. You can really get PTSD in the environment that you grew up in, or experiences that you've been through, or have some form of mental health like I did. I've had mental health over the past several months, coming out of a relationship where my ex broke things off with me, and it put me in a dark state of mind. But I see it affecting a lot of Black men, and it didn't just start last year when the pandemic happened, but this has been going on for ages, from slavery to segregation, to the segregation era, for years and years and years. And, Adrian, with Black men experiencing a form of mental health, what does that look like to you, as a Black man, and especially with all the things that you've been through when you was younger? You shared that you have been raped, you have been molested, and all these things happen to you. What does it look like for a Black man to experience mental health?
Well, I think, from one, before a Black man can even be open to mental health, he has to address his own honesty. And I think a lot of times for myself, I had to sit in the fact of, I need help with this. And whatever we don't, whenever you kind of, again, depending on how you were raised, men typically, especially African-American men, we like to avoid confrontation at any cost, right? We don't like confrontation. Like,
right.
That's the reason why when your girl texts you that, hey, we need to talk, you be like, yeah, like,
you know something bad.
Man, yeah, you be like, man,
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, because like immediately, like, you don't know, you be like, man, this thing, man. And then like, she be like, we need to talk. You want to call right then. What's up? What's going on? And because we like to avoid confrontation, because we're taught that all confrontation is quote unquote bad. But until we confront what we feel and what continues to resonate in our mind and in our thoughts and in our head, we will find ourselves going through the same ritual and routine on this pattern that we begin to create. And so for mental health for me looked like me, for one, being honest about what I needed to get, because I kept thinking about what had happened. And I also watched the demise of relationships over and over and over again, and not necessarily bad or good relationships, because some relationships were good. We just weren't good fits for each other, or whatever the case is. I'm not going to say that, oh, all my mental health stuff, was the reason why a relationship didn't work. No, because a lot of them I could have made work if I just wanted to settle down for what I settled for. But if I just had to confront my own, as DJ Roland put it with DMX, my own demons, and just say, you know what, like, this thing is still bothering me. And it's hindering me from being vulnerable. And I realized a pattern with me as a public speaker. I found that I could be more vulnerable in a room full of people. I could be preaching, dude. I preached to 10,000 people, and I share something with 10,000 people that I have not, and I could not have the capability of sharing with one person. Like, and I was like, what's wrong with, it was a disconnect. It was my emotional availability. It was the ability to shut off certain emotions. And, when it came to one-on-one situations or conversations with people, because I felt like in a room full of people, they were trusted, but in a one-on-one situation, I can't trust them. And it was because of the rape and the molestation situation, because that was a one-on-one situation. So it began to, I watched it, and I confronted my own honesty with it. And then once you confront your own honesty, you start to reach out for help within that particular area. Like dude, I have done a lot of, I've done the work. I continue to do the work, but like there's a counseling facility called Onsite, and I recommend Onsite, especially to African-American men. I was the only African-American man in this program. And a lot of times it's because we can't afford it, but they even offer scholarships. I heard Dr. Phil mention it. I was watching one thing and Dr. Phil mentioned this place called Onsite. He always would refer people to Onsite. And so I looked it up, and they had a location in Nashville, Tennessee, or right outside of Nashville. And I went to a program called emotionally, sexually, and mentally healthy man. It's 7 days, no cell phone, no TV. And it's literally you and a group of other men with counselors, hubs, food, y'all like out, like just out, nature, trees, whatever. And like, it was a process, and I was the only African-American man, the only one. Yeah, it may run you $6,000, but like, you're there for a week. Housing is amazing. It looks amazing. Like, it ain't like no little shack. Like everything is top notch. The food was great. You eating 3 times a day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so, but it's an investment. Like, people ask like, well, that's a lot of money. I was like, but what would you rather have? Some form of mental stability and freedom, or like have that money and still be in bondage? I don't care how much money you got. If your mind ain't right, that means absolutely nothing. So man, absolutely. Like how it looks to me, confront it, and then find the help to really go get it, and be serious about that help, and show up, man. Like be about it. If you're gonna do it, be about it.
Yeah. Do you see, speaking of therapy, I have spoken to a therapist, and actually I was supposed to bring him on this conversation as well too. Shout out to my therapist, Harry Scott Gordon, who we had on the Beat Break Morning Show recently. And we talked about mental health in the community in one of our previous episodes. And do you find it that there are more and more young Black males, or even adult Black men, seeking therapy than ever before? Because, it was a very, very taboo thing for us to have a conversation about Black men and mental health and going to seek a therapist or a counselor. But I think, to my eyes, like I spoke very candidly about my therapy sessions and my therapist. But are you starting to see more and more African-American men getting therapy?
For sure. I think, and that's why, like, I really celebrate, like Charlemagne the God, that really has like he's a proponent and an advocate for Black men going to counseling. And then I got a good friend, Jay Bennett, who is a licensed therapist and counselor. He's been on a lot of stuff. Actually, Charlemagne just posted him today, I think, or yesterday on Instagram. And Jay's been at it for a while. I actually was gonna hire Jay as my youth pastor at my church a few years ago. And Jay's been really, 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 like, he is a proponent of Black men and Black men getting counseling. And I just think, man, it's just us just talking about it, man. Like, it's just us saying, and as many Me Too movements as we have, there is never a Me Too movement about the Black man.
Ooh,
ain't no one. Ain't no one. We are the man, dude. I don't even want to get on a soapbox about us, but like, bro, like, legit, we are the most feared species in the world. And we are the most undervalued species. And I know we undervalue our Black women, but I'm telling you, man, like, that's the reason why we're even having a trial about George Floyd. We're having a trial. You know how crazy that is? We're spending tax dollars right now to have a trial from what we witnessed. Why? Because the Black man's life has to be put on trial to say if he's worth this being right or wrong.
Yeah. We
saw it. It's wrong. If I went out here and did the exact same thing, I would be under a jail. But my thing is, man, because, man, like legit, and that's why I think that Black men are just becoming more open to it, is because Black men are communicating about it. We're talking about it. We're saying, hey, man, dude, you dealing with that too? Yeah, man, I done felt that before too. Like, so what did you do? Like, we just, like, now we're having the conversations, and now we're meeting, now we're being more open. And I think that it's going to help us across the board, even with these relationships. When we're talking about when I was saying, like, the lack of emotional availability, like, it's going to help us there, dude. Like, I'm a wounded man, but also I feel like I'm a mended man. And, like, as long as I continue to keep doing the work, like, I know on the other side, as I continue to walk this out, dude, like, I'm not going to be perfect. And I don't ever want to be. Like, I feel like once you reach perfection, that's heaven. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm straight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love God. I ain't in no rush to get there, but I love him. I see him when I get there. But I think that for me, man, is because I am committed to being better. I'm committed to doing the work. I'm committed to addressing my own issues and my own faults. And once you become very self-aware and self-conscious, it changes the narrative of everything. It does. And so I think, man, Black men are talking about it. And so what it's doing is that it's allowing other Black men to feel like, yo, that's me too. I ain't in this by myself.
Well, we got to start something. We got to start somewhere. And all it takes is a hashtag.
For sure. For sure. Dude, every Sunday, which I got to do it, it'll be up later on, but every Sunday I do a Black man affirmation on my Instagram page, man. So, like, I do an affirmation for Black men every Sunday. I do a weekly Black man affirmation, and because I believe that we need to affirm ourselves. I'm trying to, if I finish up today, I can have it. My birthday is April 25th. I'm trying to launch. You guys will be the first to hear this. It's either gonna come out on my birthday. It's gonna come out the first part of May. But I'm doing a Black man affirmation journal. We don't journal. So what I did is that I kind of posed an affirmation and then asked the question, when was the time that you felt this way? And then, allow us to fill in that. And then at the end, say, you are the opposite of what you felt. You know what I'm saying? Right. Whatever that is. When was the last time you felt overlooked? You write down when I felt overlooked. And then, hey, at the end, it's a bold affirmation. I am valued. I am not overlooked. I am important, whatever it may be. And I'm calling I'm calling it the grown ass man journal. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. I just started. Hey, that's a good concept. That's very catchy. I just started journaling myself.
Yeah.
While I was in therapy.
It's big, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, I just started journaling. I just started writing stuff down. And that's where my creative juices kicked into play. When I was going through my mental health, and I kind of somewhat am still going through my mental health, but when it really hit me hard, it messed up my creativity. It messed it up. It slowed down for me. But journaling, man, like one of the best things I've ever done so far. DJ Roland, I know we only got a few minutes left here on the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. You can relate. You a black man. At least I think you are. But
DJ Roland is the black man.
But you work in the medical field. Mm-hmm. And so how heavy is it for black men to experience this kind of health, from your observation?
It's not addressed enough.
It's not addressed enough. Okay.
It's not addressed enough. Some men feel embarrassed about it. And that's the thing. Once we understand not to feel embarrassed about it, then that's when a lot more doors will be open. A lot more men will come out and say something, because we're supposed to be the tough guy. We're supposed to handle all the things that come upon us and it's a trip, and then relating back to childhood of certain things that you really don't want to say to certain folks. That's like, I don't want to deal with it, and that's why I respect DMX more. I mean, I respect him more when he was more comfortable in his career, and then understanding him. I'm like, okay, all right. He can party up sometimes and put it out like, all right, don't trip with me, don't trip with me, because I got something for you. Don't trip with me, but I know how to party. So I'm like, okay, all right, I got you. So once men, I'm really focused on black men. White men are different in my opinion, because they'll come out with certain things. Either come out with certain things or do certain things that may harm the community and whatnot. Because usually those mass murderers usually have the most mental disturbed issues going on. With black men, we just cover it up and like, okay, we ain't gonna address it, but we need to, because other stuff happens doing that. So once we understand that as black men, to come out, and you ain't gotta like just say to anybody. When you feel comfortable to say it to that specific person and whatnot, because sometimes people don't realize it, that it affects relationships, and you're wondering why certain things are not going down right. And I ain't just talking about sex. I mean, just in development of the relationship. And women get frustrated, like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Talk to me. Yeah, I'm all right. That's what we do. And we have been doing this for generations, really. And we just got to come out and be honest with ourselves that some things that we did have no control over happened to us, and is continuing in a deep unconscious thing going on to this day, to address it so maybe we can be better. And definitely not have it repeated to the next generation. That's the thing, because you shouldn't, history repeats itself. You don't want to repeat certain things. You want to enhance what you have learned and whatnot, and not repeat it, and let the next generation can be the best they could possibly be. So,
yeah. And you know what? One thing I want to add too is I think I had some form of mental health before the breakup and not even know it, especially coming from a single parent household and going through what I went through, going from one job to the next and being homeless at one point, being raised by a single mom, and the pressures of life, being a black man, having to go to a job interview thinking that you got the job and you didn't, and now you depressed, and all the different intricacies involved, where you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you experience those things, and you keep denying that you have mental health. But I think it just takes time for a person to realize, like myself, that I have mental health. There are going to be plenty of people that will deny and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need to see a therapist. I feel like, and this is me being transparent, I feel like if you are born on this planet called Earth and you grow up, you're going to need to speak to a therapist. There's a reason why there's counselors in schools, because they already know that you might come across a situation that's beyond your control and you're going to need some help mentally. I feel like everybody needs access and accessibility to seek a counselor, a licensed therapist for additional help. And I also believe that we need to, like DJ Rowland said, is not being addressed enough in the medical industry. We're going to just go ahead and start our own hashtag and just say hashtag not me too, but hashtag something to raise awareness of mental health in the Black community or for Black men.
Yep.
I think we need to go ahead and get that started. It just starts with the hashtag.
Specifically for Black men, man, like Roland said, like it's not talked about enough. And then understanding that, it may not have been our fault that something happened, but at a certain age, it does become our responsibility if we don't deal with it. That's our responsibility.
Yeah.
Because everybody I meet, I can't give them the storyline to give myself a concession for how I'm operating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So at some point, I take responsibility of what I may be dealing with and say, you know what? I'm not going to keep throwing a pity party that it happened. It did. These are the cards that I was dealt for the season in which that I was in. But now, I'm going to work through it. And I'm going to put my all in to, becoming as whole as I possibly can and letting that be my responsibility to become whole.
Yeah, that's the key. That is the key. Knowing where you are and knowing what direction you want to go into. But definitely, we always encourage people to seek help ASAP, as soon as possible. Yeah, because a lot of things affect us all, whether it's seeing violence in your neighborhood or being a part of, you can even get attacked in school, verbally, physically, and it does something to your mindset. So we all need some form of help, but we definitely gonna have to start with social media and raise the awareness. I mean, here it starts here on this platform, on platforms like these, on internet radio and podcasts. But to get the ball rolling even more, we got to take it to the next level and do it by way of social media and then go from there. I think that's one of the solutions that we can do as broadcasters and as people of this platform. But hey, we are running out of time, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast. But before we close out, time now for the major announcement. If you did not get a chance to see the announcement online at Sean Garvey ATL and at Beat Break Radio on IG, Facebook, and on Twitter. But I am officially a screenwriter, and I am happy to announce that I now have a team of writers for the upcoming podcast series called Unemployment Check, coming soon. Shout out to Durante Avaloy, who is the executive producer for the project, including myself, yours truly, Sean Garvey, and to the writers, Nolan, Luke, and Bruce. They are the writers for the project. We do also have some other writers on the project as well. But we had I can't forget the main star of the series also, Robbie D. DJ Rowland remembers Robbie D.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We did some episodes together back in the day. Not here on the Beat Break Morning Show. Robbie D, he's been on the morning show twice, but me and him, we go way back to doing DKETV, which, of course, if you're just now hearing this, Beat Break Radio is a spawn of DKETV, because DKETV blossomed into DKE Radio. Later on, we were on Love 860 AM in 2010, and the name we changed from DKE Radio to what is now Beat Break Radio.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of history behind this platform, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But we're working on a new podcast series called Unemployment Check. It is to be announced as far as the release date goes, but we are currently in production.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Can't wait to talk more about it in the later shows that we will have. Can't talk too much about it, of course, because we are in the beginning stages of production. But I'm excited for the crew and the cast member and the people involved that we have so far.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, man. Hey, Adrian, you got to make a feature on our podcast. You can. I'm working on an episode where this character will be in the church, and we need a pastor.
Hey,
there you go.
Hey,
not you.
There you go.
Hey, man. You know, we gotta look out. We gotta look out for our people, man. And you know, we definitely want to make it up, because I know you wanted to be on the last episode we did about y'all like nice guys.
Y'all be leaving me out, man. Y'all just just hit me up, man. Just tell me, man. Listen, get on here. It's gonna be good.
Awesome. Well, Adrian Davis, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming back on the morning show and spending your time with us, chopping it up on various subjects that we talked about this morning. How can people follow you?
Man, they can follow me on Instagram, Adrian Davis Now. Everything is Adrian Davis Now. Adrian Davis Now. Look, right here. Adrian Davis Now.
There you go.
AdrianDavisNow.com website, but Adrian Davis Now on Instagram, Adrian Davis Now on YouTube. I do a YouTube content, podcast, the Commerce Podcast, Painkillers Podcast. So yeah, man, I'm a little bit of everywhere, but yeah, Adrian Davis Now everywhere.
Wait, how many podcast shows you have?
5.
Woo! You do 5 podcast shows?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have
more than me.
I have Commerce, which is my brand, and talk about business, talk about life priorities, blah blah blah. But mainly it's geared around business and entrepreneurship. And then I have one that I do, but now Commerce is just me. I have guests on, so on and so on. But then I have Painkillers. That's myself and Marquise Boone. We talk about killing the pain. You know, our slogan is, we're going to talk your pain away. So we take sensitive subjects and deal with those things. And then I have a podcast that we do called Group Text with me and 2 of my other homeboys, where we just talk about empowering each other, all of that stuff, importance of your circle, all that stuff. And so that can go a myriad of different ways. Then I have a podcast that I do with my daughter called Hard, HARDD, Daddy Daughter Conversations. And so we talk about our development and our growth and our relationship. So we only have 1 episode that's up there now. We roll out the others in the next few weeks. So we've been recording and getting ready for that. And then we have my last podcast. It's called Mind of a Man, that I do with David Burris. We just recorded a whole season of those that will launch in May.
Dang. You're about to be the hardest working man in podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you giving Joe Rogan a run for his money.
Listen, man, I just feel like we Black men, Black educated men with something to say, need to be on every outlet and every platform. And I know we like to highlight foolishness, but let them tell us that they highlight foolishness because that was their choice, not because nothing else was available.
I hear that, man. Well, hey, invite us on one of your podcasts one day.
Oh, yeah, listen, y'all gotta come. Sean, DJ Roland, y'all gotta come. I'm inviting y'all. I'm officially inviting y'all. Y'all gonna come on Commerce, And then I really need to get y'all on Mind of a Man as well. So yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I got a whole lot to say on both platforms, man.
My wheels have been spinning.
Gotcha. All right.
Hey, DJ Roland, where can people follow you?
Always follow me at DJ Roland on Twitter and Instagram, and hit me up on Facebook, DJ Roland Townsend and whatnot. So hopefully we're still early in the spring, so time to start popping out. I'm able to do some outdoor events, socially distanced still, so we can do our thing.
Gotta stay safe.
Right.
Yeah, man. Make sure to follow me on all social media, Sean Garvey ATL, Facebook, Sean Garvey. Oh, and I haven't been really pumping this up as much as I would love to, DJ Roland and Adrian, but of course, my spoken word project is available online. A Poet Found Dead. You can read my material by going to SeanGarveyOnline.wordpress.com. SeanGarveyOnline.com is coming soon without the WordPress. We're working on it. But in the meantime, between time, you can go to SeanGarveyOnline.wordpress.com to check out A Poet Found Dead. I've been getting a lot of great responses off of that project, man. You know, I don't only just do radio and podcast, TV and film, but I also do a little bit of poetry as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, got a lot of great material on there, including the one I did with S. Lonnie Hayes, Good Morning, and Jordan's is on there. How many MCs must get missed? Woo! Woo! How many MCs must get missed? Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Sean Garvey Online.wordpress.com. Been a very great conversation. Instead of the DJ Roland mix, we're going to get into a throwback hangover from one of our past Beat Break morning shows right after the Jeff is Moody, you may be a racist and you don't even know it. And you may be a racist. It's always something racism happening every other day.
Always. No, let me say this. It's happening 24 hours out of the day, every single day. It's highlighted probably every other day.
Yeah, man. That's why we got this.
It gets caught. It gets caught every other day.
Yeah, man. I mean, can Black people be racist as well too? You know, we go to a fast food restaurant and we tell the person behind the counter, "Hey, I want vanilla today and not chocolate." Can we be racist with it? I want vanilla. I want the vanilla milkshake today, and instead of the chocolate milkshake, I'm not feeling the chocolate milkshake today. I think I want vanilla. Can you be racist? Can a black person be racist by saying that as well? Going into
I was gonna say you want the pale. You want the pale. Okay.
There is a pale.
I'm not on that. I ain't on that black today.
All right, stay tuned. We got more right here on the Beat Break Morning Show, the Beat Break Podcast.
Yep.
It's the Beat Break Morning Show with Sean Garvey and the crew.